the Casio Natural Display Calculator. This video is all about how to use this calculator for the AQA Statistics course. Okay, this is the calculator that I'm referring to. This particular one has red colored keys here. You may have the more modern version which has orange colored keys. There are some small differences between them. To reset the calculator back to its factory defaults, this is what you need to do. Okay, Shift. See the little S there on the display? That means I've pressed Shift. At 9, and you can see those letters CLR. That's to clear the various parts of the calculator. I'm going to clear everything, so that's option 3, and then to accept this, press equals. Okay, the calculator is now reset to factory defaults, so press the AC key to continue. Okay, so remember this: Shift 9 3 equals AC. Shift 9 3 equals AC. Entering data into the calculator to work out the mean and to work out the standard deviation. Okay, so the mean and standard deviation. I'm going to use the calculator's built-in statistics mode to do this. So mode, statistics, that's option 2 with this calculator. It may be different on yours. There's only one variable here, so let's pretend this is the daily temperature recorded over 6 days. So you've got -2 degrees C, 5 degrees C, etc. So one variable, that's option 1. You have this table where you will input this data. It does not have to be in order. So the first one, -2, using this key here for the -2, press equals. 5 equals 1 equals, so enter each value pressing equals afterwards. Once the data is in there, just double check to make sure it's accurate, and when you're satisfied that the data is as intended, press the AC key, okay, the clear key, and then Shift 1. Can you see that stat function there? And we have a number of options. I'm specifically looking for this one here, variables, option 5. Option 2 is the mean, so that's the mean of the data that I've entered. And then if I go through this again, so Shift 1, variables, which is option 5. Now to get the standard deviation, I have 2 options. If this data represents a population, then it's option 3 that I need to go for. If the data represents a sample, then it's option 4. Now typically you work with samples in statistics if you have data, so if you're not sure, more often than not this will be option 4. So option 4, make sure you press equals afterwards, because that value there is not the sample standard deviation. You must press equals there. Okay, so this value here is the sample standard deviation for this data. If you're given data in a frequency table like this, you can still work out the mean and the standard deviation. So to begin with, I'm going to reset the calculator. Shift 9 3 equals AC. mode, statistics, one variable. There's only one variable here, which is the data. Now the frequency column here is missing. To turn on frequencies, you need the setup function. Shift, setup. The little arrow here is telling you that there are more options that don't fit on the screen, so you can scroll down using the scroll key. Statistics, option 3 here. Frequencies, option 1 to turn on frequencies. There we go. So enter everything into column 1 first, the X values. Press equals after each entry. And now we're ready to put in the frequencies. To go to the top of the table, scroll down just once, and you go to the top of the table, scroll to the right, and now enter the frequencies. Double check your data. Once you're satisfied it's correct, press the AC key, Shift 1 for statistics, variables, option 5 here, and the sample mean is this. That's the mean of this data. Shift 1 variables, and if this is a sample, the sample standard deviation is option 4. Press equals, and this is the sample standard deviation. If I was looking for the variance for this data, well, you know that the variance is the standard deviation squared, so I would just square this value here like this. So that's the variance for this data. In this example we have some bivariate data, meaning that we have two variables, x and y. Here's a scatter graph with plots of these points, and there's a couple of things that we can work out for this data. Well, the first one is the strength of linear correlation, which is the product moment correlation coefficient, the PMCC, and the calculator will give us that value. And we can also work out the equation of the line of best fit for this data, and the line of best fit is called the regression line, so we can work out the equation of the regression line. And what the calculator will give us there are these two values, A and B. And once you know what A and B are, you can write down the equation of the regression line. Let's start by resetting the calculator. Shift 93 equals AC. I want stats mode, stats mode there. This time I have two variables, so it's not option 1, but we're going to use option 2. It's got the A plus BX there, which is what you have here in the regression equation. So option 2, enter the X values, 1, 5, 6, 8, 10, scroll down to go to the top of the table, and then go across, enter the Y values, 10, 20, 21, 30, 32. The data is in there. Just double check that the data is accurate. Press the AC key, okay, clear, and then Shift, statistics. We're looking for option 7, regression analysis. Option 7. The product moment correlation coefficient is option 3, represented by R. Make sure you press equals after this. There. So that's showing very strong positive linear correlation between the variables x and y. As you can see from the graph, that's quite evident. And to get the regression equation, you need A and B. So again, Shift, statistics, by pressing 1, regression, A is 7.21 to 3 significant figures. That's the value that goes here, and B, the value that goes here. So again, shift 1 7. There's B, that's option 2. Press equals 2.57 rounded to 3 significant figures. So that value there replaces the B here, and then you've got the equation of the regression line that goes through these points. So when you enter the raw data, the original data, into the calculator, you can work out the product moment correlation coefficient, or you can work out the equation of the regression line. Now you can also get Spearman's rank correlation from the calculator, but in that case you will not be entering the original data. What you enter are the ranks. Okay, so if you rank the data first and then you put the ranks into the calculator, you will be working out Spearman's rank correlation. The method is the same as for the PMCC. Okay, so you put ranked data into the calculator and then follow the same instructions for the PMCC, but when you go to shift 1 7, when you select option 3 here, the value that you're about to see there will not be the PMCC, but it will be Spearman's rank correlation, because you've entered ranks into the calculator instead of the original data. Standard form. Let's say if you enter some numbers like this into the calculator, simple division, you press equals and you want the answer as a decimal number, so you press the SD key here and you get this, and then you're thinking, right, that's in standard form, it's got times 10 to the power of something here, but you want the answer in ordinary form. Okay, the way to convert it is to do this. Press shift and then this ENG key here. Okay, nothing happens the first time, you usually try that again, shift, ENG. Keep doing that until you see times 10 to the power of 0 here. As soon as you get times 10 to the power of 0, stop and then read off the value there. That's now in ordinary form. If you want to enter standard form values into the calculator, for example 1.69 times 10 to the power of minus 4. Okay, there's the times 10 to the power of key here at the bottom, and I want times 10 to the power of minus 4, so then I'll do this, minus 4. There you go, it's done. And again, to change that to ordinary form, shift ENG. That doesn't say 10 to the power of 0 yet, so do that again. That's 10 to the power of 0, which means this is the number here in ordinary form, 0.000169. Using the calculator's memories. Now these calculators have a number of memories in them, represented by these red lettered keys. So you've got memory A, B, C, D, X, Y and M in this calculator. Let's do a simple calculation to demonstrate how to use the memories. So I'm going to subtract a couple of numbers and then divide the answer by 11.2. So let's say I've got this value here, and I would like to use this value again in another calculation, but I want to use the full value, so maintaining accuracy. To store this, press shift, so the S there is highlighted on the display. Store, that's this key here, STO here. Store, you see the STO highlighted there? Now the calculator is waiting for you to hit one of these red lettered keys here. So I'm going to store this in memory A. So there. Okay, it's told me to put the answer into memory A. That value is now stored in memory A. So if I clear the display, to recall that value, press the RCL key, recall. You see RCL highlighted on the display, and then hit the key that you've just stored the value into, which was key A there, and there's the value that I've just stored in the calculator's memory. If you have multiple values stored in the calculator's memory, so let's say if I had this value stored in memory B, and I wanted to subtract those two values that I've got in the memories, like A minus B. So you can do this, recall A minus recall B, or you can do this, alpha A minus alpha B. It gives you the same answer. That can be quite useful sometimes. Okay, what do you do with calculations that have a plus and a minus in them like this? So you want to work this out with the plus and with the minus, so you have two separate values representing some type of interval. Okay, enter the data, but with the minus first. There, I've entered the data into the calculator, the values there. You've got the minus here, representing the minus here. So it's given me this value, 1.357. That's the lower limit of the interval. And then replay this. So if I hit the key here, and just go past the minus, delete it, change it to a plus, so there's no need to re-enter everything, when all I want to do is just change the minus to a plus, press equals, and there's the upper limit of this interval. Using the calculator to work out binomial probabilities using the binomial formula. Okay, so I need to enter this into the calculator. Now this part here, the 10 over the 6, it's not a fraction. Okay, the way to enter this is 10, press the shift key, so the S is highlighted, and then this function, NCR, it's on the divide key there. Okay, so 10C6 times 0.4 to the power of, so this key here, to the power of 6, times brackets, I didn't put the times in there, there's no need to have a times there, but you do need it here, 1 minus 0.4, close brackets, to the power of 10 minus 6. There you go, that's the probability that you get with this calculation. And the bit that you might forget is this part here, the 10 over 6. It's not a fraction, it's 10C6. And that C comes from here, the NCR function on the calculator. Standardizing a sample mean using this formula, which has two fractions. Okay, let's put in these numbers into the calculator. Here's what you should not do. Now there are two fractions here. You've got the fraction here and here. Do not do this. I've pressed the fractions key once, and now I'm going to press it again. Okay, it will work out something else. It will be the wrong answer. So let's start again. Press the fractions key once. Put in the first set of numbers into the numerator, 14.2 minus 12. Scroll down. Now hit the fractions key again. So that's 5. Scroll down, root 8. So it looks exactly the way it's written. Press equals SD to get the decimal version of that number, and there you go. In this example, I have some bivariate data, so x and y are both variables, and what I would like to work out are all of these values here. So what's the sum of all this column, what's the sum of all of these values in this column, the sum of all the x squared values, and so on. And these may be useful to calculate other things using standard formulae from the formula book. Okay, so first of all, let's enter the data into the calculator. So mode, statistics, option 2. We have two variables. Enter the data. Once the data is entered, press the AC key. Shift, statistics, that's key 1. And we're looking for all of these summed values. So that's option 4 here, where it says sum. There, and then here we go. Anything that you want. For example, what's the value of sigma x squared? Sigma x squared there is option 1, which is this, 226. If I'm looking for sigma xy, so shift 1, sum sigma xy there, option 5, make sure you press equals afterwards there. If I want to go back to my data that I entered into the calculator, shift stats data, option 2 there. So let's say if one of these values was incorrect and I later realized that shouldn't have been 20 there, it should be 19, you just overwrite it like this, 19 there, it's overwritten. Using the calculator with Yates Formula. In the Yates Formula you have these two vertical lines here in the formula, which represent the absolute value of something, or the modulus of something, the sign, the magnitude of something. To use this formula in calculations, your calculator must be in its natural display mode first. So shift 9 3 equals, press the AC key, that's now reset. So to put this into the calculator, that's a fraction, so let's start with the fractions key, then you've got open brackets, and then I'll need this modulus function here, which is represented by this key here, which gives the absolute value of something. So press this, and there you go, you've got those two vertical lines, that blue one here and that blue one here. Put in the numbers 10 minus 11.2 inside, scroll to the right to come out of this, there, minus 0.5, minus 0.5, close brackets, squared, over 11.2, press equals, and there's the value that you're looking for. To generate random numbers on the calculator, you do this, shift, and then the decimal point, which gives you the random number generator. Press equals, press equals again, equals again. You have to keep pressing the SD key. That's quite annoying, having to press the SD key, because it gives you fractions each time. The way around it is to change the mode of the calculator. So mode, it's actually shift setup option 2, line IO there. And if we do the same thing again now, shift random number generator, keep pressing equals, you've got these decimals here. You might think, well, I don't want decimals, I want a whole number. Just multiply the answer by 1000 there, and now you can generate random numbers. If you want longer random numbers, so let's say you've got this one here, 3 digits, 290, you can stick these to the end, so you've got 290558. That's a 6-digit number, and you can put lots of these together to make even longer random numbers.